In this Halo Wars 2 multiplayer match, I am playing as Pavium and I am going to do my very best to try and grab both middle bases and set up mega turrets to support my teammates on the side. Don't know how that's going to turn out, as well as just being able to just play more of a support role for my team instead of being the aggressor. This is something that I want to think about in order to try and be more of a team player as a whole. And so this is what we're going to go ahead and try and do. And right away, there is this build order I want to go ahead and show, because this build order I'm starting off with gen first, upgrading the gen right away, and then sending my grunts to go ahead and try and take out the enemy marines that are trying to get the additional resources in the middle of the map. Now, why is this? I played against a very high level player, got destroyed by this build order, and so this is a build order that I want to go ahead and try out. So the thought process is that I'm going to be able to get the additional resources around this map, which will then help boom my economy even further. And honestly, it's a pretty good idea, but then I realized as I'm talking about this as we speak, I do have the ability to speed up my economy, which I have not done so actually. It must have been a mistake. There it is. There's burnout, and we're going to actually use it now. But it definitely could have been used sooner, and these marines actually snuck their way around, got a full batch of power, and they're taking my power that's over here as well. So all in all, it's an alright trade. I do at least get the additional supply that is set up on their side, which is going to let me get additional grunts to start working on the nodes while I get that good batch of heavy supply that we see. But all in all, this is definitely something that needs to be worked around with and improved upon. But all in all, it is a pretty decent build, because we at least have 2 upgraded supply gens and possibly a third. No, we're actually going to go raid camp. No, okay, we're going to go sensor tower. And so now we're going to go ahead and grab that last ditch of power that we weren't able to grab yet. And we're going to start working on the nodes, just because we have a whole bunch of grunts already made. Now, to be fair, I definitely could have stopped grunt production to go ahead and get that second gen up. But, you know, live and learn. We're trying to improve a little by little. And so sensor tower in your base is a great way to grab the mini base behind you when you're playing mid. I highly suggest it. That's something that a lot of high level players do as a whole. And now we're going to start working on the nodes. And unfortunately, the way the sentinels were moving away, we weren't even able to reduce the amount of damage that we wanted to take from the sentinels. So all in all, we're going to look to try and take a second base right away, just because we have a bunch of grunts and we have some units just active in the map. So let's go ahead and grab the second base. We got the middle node and keep producing grunts in the meantime. Extractor has been upgraded. Keep getting those additional supply pads set up so we can just keep the grunt production at a pretty high rate. Now, will I go ahead and get shrapnel mines? We'll find out. I don't think shrapnel mines is a move to get as of right now, because we still don't know what the enemy is doing. We do know we're playing against triple UNSC, but I have not checked that leader map in regards to what we are playing against. And so grunt production is going to go ahead and continue. We do have at least 2 power nodes so far. We're working on our second one. And we do have some pressure happening with red on that left side of the map. Was able to throw down a bunker. So they're going to go ahead and try and pressure that node. Burnout 2 is finally ready. So we're going to go ahead and use it on our base. Fun fact, if you go ahead and hot group, teleport to your base using the shortcut key that they have going on there, you can actually use burnout and have it set up perfectly such that you'll be able to use burnout on all 4 slots on your main base. And now we have a weird bunker war going on right now, because you have red set up with 3 snipers in the bunker, which is always nice. You have green with some marines that are over there, but all in all, they're just kind of dishing damage back and forth to each other. And so I'm going to send my grunt to see if they're getting themselves a second base. We're going to stop these extra units that are over here, and I did notice it was snipers, so this is not an engagement that I really want to go ahead and take just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and start retreating. We do have a 3rd extractor coming up, and we're going to get our 4th extractor. We're going with a very, very, very greedy econ build right away to get that additional power, because we know we're going to need it. And so now Foundry is going to start coming out, and let's see what our next building point is going to be for that base. But all in all, this is looking relatively decent. There's not really high aggression, but there is some aggression. Orange is over there to go ahead and try and engage light blue on the map. And there we go, double foundry on our base over here. And it makes sense, if we're going to end up going mega turrets, we're probably going to want to get reavers and stuff like that associated with it. And so now we're just going to try and defend our base to the best of our ability, continue to pump out marauders so we can try and get tech 3 set up if possible. And war console is now up and mega turret is going to be live now. So now we have to start establishing these mega turrets. This is going to be somewhat of a slow game as of right now, but we're still waiting for the right opportunity. We had a little bit of regression early on, but the bunker was cleared on that left hand side. There goes the second base trying to be established by dark blue, and there we go. First mega turret is going to go ahead and get built. We are going to go ahead and self-destruct that supply gen. We did not really want that there. Take out these marines right away, so then we can go ahead and see if we can capture this node and remain having vision on this side. Reaper production is going to go ahead and continue, and now we're going to start working our way towards mid. But then we see a light blue with a bunch of infantry, with some hellbringers and infantry that's attacking our Decimus base. There are some snipers that are set up on the high ground, which is going to be very unfortunate. But we're going to send our marauder over to see if we can go ahead and do some damage against those snipers. And so we're still going to move a grunt in position such that we want to be able to take that next base. But speaking of which, a Spartan is trying to hijack the marauder that I have, which is very unfortunate. And so they're going to be able to capture that, but we are going to get the upgrade that we want associated with this mega turret. And so now we're going to start working towards the next phase, which will just be having constant pressure set up on the middle lanes, and hopefully the mega turret can act as support as well if there's ends up being attacked on the side. And speaking of which, we do have our mega turret that is set and ready to go. And so now we're kind of in this weird spot where it's like, where do I pressure, where do I go? We do have a very good economy. And there we go, third base is now being made, as I mentioned at the beginning of this game. And so will we be able to actually be able to take both bases and set up our defenses that we want associated with it? They immediately cleared out the grunt that was over there, but I may have just did an all units and got him out of there since I never put him in hold position. But constant marines are showing up to try and pressure and stop the mass air from happening. And so this is my cue to go ahead and come in and try and fight these units that have now shown up. And with what we have, we're going to be able to hold relatively well. We're going to keep reducing the marauders, and then we're also going to try and focus down on this bunker as well. Mega turret is still doing a spectacular job, but now we're going to self-destruct that war console to get a second mega turret up, because we're going to need it. And now Pavium is here to help with a push, or at least get rid of this push as a whole. The marauder from the Spartan was able to go ahead and stop the grunt to provide vision up there. And speaking of which, burnout is available. The fact that I have not used burnout is very unfortunate, but we do have some banshees that are set up, getting rid of the Spartan at that top hand side, which is always very nice. And that's going to be my cue to try to go ahead and see if I can take out that node, as in capture it, and keep orange with that pressure while I go ahead and see if I can do any damage with light blue on that side. And so now with all this additional power that we have, we're going to get the upgrades that we want. We are going to start falling back a little bit because it's not really the matchup that we're looking for, but we are going to see if we can get rid of light blue space as a whole. Pavium set up very nicely, and we do have a couple units now that need to come in and help reinforce the banshees that are showing up at the bottom. Reavers are starting to shoot the air that's up there. But there are a bunch of snipers by dark blue, which is quite something. And so now we're going to get ourselves a cloaking gen to start trying to establish just protection on that side of the lane, just because I don't really have much. Great carpet bomb that's coming down by Cutter. But the mega turret is still doing a substantial amount of work, and we're looking to try and get our third mega turret set up as a whole. Banshees are back, which is something that you always love to see. And Wraith production will be on its way, but not before a third mega turret is coming down. And so now there are some snipers at the front that are causing a little bit of problems, but look at that. Mega turret comes in and clears both of them out very easily. And now Pavium's on the top floor. Our Reavers come in to start dealing with the Nightingales in the air that's currently set up. It does look like Decimus is going to have to retreat a little bit because he is being pressured by by light blue, and he loses his base in response, which is very unfortunate. And so now we just got to try and hold to the best of our ability while being able to get this push. Our Decimus is on one base, which is very unfortunate, but we want to see if we can just keep up this pressure and see if we can take out this base if possible. The Marauders are going to go ahead and start working their way around, but our Reavers are starting to come down because of the Spartan. And so we're going to still try and focus down on the base. The Spartan jumps at the top in order to go ahead and try and stun my Pavium, which is working out really well. Light blue shows up with some reinforcements, but we do have more Mega Turrets just being upgraded on that left hand side, getting the additional vision from the sensor tower. And now we're going to focus down on the Spartan, and there we go. Spartan has now been eliminated, which is something nice to see. And we got one of the Reavers hopped over to the other side to provide that additional anti-air support. And Decimus is still trying to clear out the bunker that is set up on that right hand side with the Marines. And so right now we still have a decent push going on. There's still red doing the dance on that left hand side. But now we're going to start focusing down on this anti-air turret. It's done a lot of damage, and it's something that we just need to take out as a whole. But then realizing that the base is weak, let's just go ahead and take out the base instead. And so there we go. Base has now been taken out. We're producing lots of rates. There's a drop coming in by by light blue over here, which is a pretty tough drop. But as of right now, oh, and close air support is being called in as well. The shield gen is trying to hold as best as possible. My Mega Turret is still providing support on this left hand side with the Colossus Scout that's happening over there. So my Pavium's ult is doing pretty well. Decimus is trying to clear out the ground to the best of their ability, and this is going to be my cue to see if I can push this left hand side. I think what we have over there will be good enough to try and hold, but this is a well defended base, and this is a cutter that we're going to be going up against. But we want to see if there's something we can do for this. Pavium is sent to the bottom to go ahead and provide any base repairs that it may need. But all in all, it does look like there's just a very good push that's happening on this side of the map now between Red and I. And now with the Mega Turrets hooked up, we're going to see if we can just continue this pressure as a whole and see if we can just take out this base or just do a lot of damage with it. Because a lot of damage has been done by Red and his Colossus with the battle that's going on with Green. And so now all of a sudden the air is starting to show up over here, and I do have a level 1 Reaver, which is always nice to see, but it's not going to be enough, honestly, with the amount of air that they have. So we just got to be a little bit careful with how we want to go ahead and take this engagement, and this is not a good decision. I know my Mega Turrets will be able to do some damage, but there's a lot of units over here, and then the Spartan is coming in. Will we be able to save the Reaver? No, the Reaver is going to go and get hijacked by the Spartan, which is very unfortunate. Pavium is here on the right hand side to go ahead and make sure that if his base does get attacked, we do have the base heals associated with it. Mega Turret is doing some great work, but unfortunately that stuff was stolen from me, and that does make me pretty sad at the moment. But here comes Light Blue with another big drop push that's coming in, but we got ourselves a Y move coming down on the Mantis, which is really slowing down and doing great AoE that's over there. So the Mega Turret's going to have a very good time over there. Green is still trying to see if they can do any damage to Red, but with the heal that's happening with Pavium, this is going to go ahead and stop Orange from losing his base from the Johnson that's trying to come in. So Burnout is going to continue to be used. Get all those additional supplies because we need it to produce more rates. And now with what we have, things are looking a little bit better. But with anti-vehicle turrets that are set up on the left hand side and the sensor tower, that's going to be very hard to push. So I need to figure out what will be a better position to go ahead and get the enemy in a very uncomfortable position. If not, this is going to be a long drawn out game. And there you have it. An enemy player ends up disconnecting. And I would presume it's because of the fact that we have ourselves the Mega Turrets just all over the place. And so they ended up quitting, which is quite unfortunate, which causes Green to then leave the game. And now Light Blue has self-destructed his bases in order to go ahead and lose less points from the loss. But all in all, it was I would say it's a pretty well, siege game in regards to putting them in a spot where they can't really do much with what they got. And all in all, I think the siege pressure with the 2 mega turrets are definitely a hard reason why they ended up leaving the game. But it is unfortunate. It would have been better to at least be able to finish it with a good push. But green was pincered pretty hard, and dark blue was never able to establish a second base. So that's something that could definitely be frustrating for that player as a whole. So I totally understand if that was the reason why they left. I'm not going to presume that the game crashed or anything like that. It is definitely possible. If you think otherwise, feel free to let me know, because I am curious. Was this a good win, or was this just that, hey, they got disconnected? But with that being said, we went against 2 99s and a 95, which is double cutters and a Johnny. They went 23 for 27, 78 for 28, and lastly 47 for 19. Meanwhile, myself playing as Pavium went 26 for 59, 9 for 44 for the Johnson, and then 37 for 41 as the Decimus. Speaking of which, I now have a Discord channel. No idea how it's going to turn out because I'm not really too good with the Discord. But anyways, the Discord is just meant to have further discussions, not with just Halo Wars, but just any games in general as a whole. But a lot of Halo Wars. We all know my love and passion for Halo Wars is strong. Whether you're new, whether you're a vet, would love to come in and just keep the game running. And as always, I do have Patreon supporters if you want to support the game development side. If not, it is all good. With that being said, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Definitely got to do that a lot sooner. And until next time, enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed the Wars game. And I'll catch you all in the next video.